Hello, and welcome to Luna's Den of Horror. This is a podcast of all things horror, from movies to life and all that's in between. Episode 5. I decided to do a Halloween episode where I give suggestions on movies and TV shows to watch during Halloween season and on Halloween itself. I know this is a bit late, so next year I will make sure I do it earlier in the month. So let's start with some TV shows to watch. These are in no particular order. First show I would suggest is The Munsters. If you're looking for a family-friendly, funny horror show, this is a good one to start with. Herman's humor is what keeps the show light and fun with the help of his family. Growing up, this was a show we watched a lot. I always wanted to live with the Munsters because they seemed like a great family that was so much fun. I had the pleasure of meeting two actors from the show. The first is Pat Priest, who played Marilyn, the Munsters' niece that lives with them. She's the non-monster, normal one that doesn't see them as different nor herself. She's actually quite beautiful but can't seem to find a boyfriend. A lot of them leave after meeting the rest of her family. She is also the second Marilyn. She replaced the original actress who left the show after 13 episodes. She was a really sweet, nice lady, very friendly, and you could tell that she really loved meeting her fans. The second person I met was Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster, the Munsters' little werewolf son. He was a really nice guy, very cool and down to earth. He had a replica you can buy of his doll, Woof Woof. It was really cool. You can also tell with him as well that he loved meeting his fans. A few other older shows to check out are The Addams Family, The Twilight Zone, Night Gallery, and The Outer Limits. The next set of shows are shows that are not continual storylines. I'll start with Tales from the Crypt. This show was packed with celebrities from the time like Demi Moore and Brad Pitt. Every episode was a different story, all having dark humor and a moral to tell. To go back years before, we have Tales from the Dark Side. These were not always as humorous, but they were definitely stories of horror. These were a lot darker, and anyone who's heard the opening credits music knows how creepy it was. To add to the creepy credit music, we cannot mention that without mentioning Unsolved Mysteries. While this is more of a true crime show, it did have a lot of ghost stories and Halloween specials. The combination of Robert Stack and the opening credits just gave it the perfect creepy, scary effect. Fast forward a few decades to Masters of Horror. This was a show where each episode was directed by a famous horror director, from John Carpenter to Takashi Miike. Each story unique to the director's style types, giving us great scares in the form of a TV show. Last but not least is The Simpsons' Treehouse of Horror. This has been an annual tradition since their second season and worth checking out while also being kid-friendly. Now for some shows that are continual storylines from season to season. So of course I will start with Supernatural, since it's one of my favorite shows. Filled with monsters and all things dark, this is a great horror show. True Blood is another great horror show, especially since it's filled with all sorts of creatures from vampires to werewolves. I am also going to add to this list Smallville. While not fully horror, I can see it being considered, especially the earlier episodes where they dealt with meteor monsters, for lack of a better word. These were essentially people who came into contact with kryptonite, or meteor rocks, as it's called in Smallville, and then started to have special abilities like controlling bugs or the ability to run fast. As the show progresses, though, the storyline shifts to be more serious and show more of how Clark Kent becomes Superman. Teen Wolf was another one, along with Hemlock Grove and The Vampire Diaries, The X-Files, and I can't say that show without saying Millennium. Millennium is a show about a former FBI agent that has a sixth sense, forensic-wise, regarding crimes, and he's recruited by a group that investigates these crimes, as well as believing that bad things will happen at the turn of the century. Very dark show with a good storyline. The main character is Frank Black, who's played by Lance Hendrickson. And one last older show that I thought was good and wish it got to be more than one season is The Gates. It is about this guy who becomes the chief of police. He's played by Frank Grillo. You all know him from The Purge: Anarchy and The Purge: Election Year. He plays the chief of police for a gated community that's filled with supernatural beings such as witches, werewolves, and vampires. And basically, he's investigating crimes and the supernatural beings that commit them, or that have crimes committed against them. Let's wrap up TV shows with more modern shows like The Walking Dead and their spin-offs, Stranger Things, and Wednesday, which are more well-known. There's also Creepshow, which has 2 stories per episode and all horror-themed. It's based off the movie Creepshow from the 80s. The stories are horror-packed and fun, and they're usually packed with horror celebrities as well. Only with 3 seasons, but a hell of a ride, is Ash vs. Evil Dead. This is a typical Evil Dead storyline with Bruce Campbell, as we all know him as Ashley J. Ashy Slashy Williams, our favorite chainsaw-handed wise ass. Him and his 2 friends, Pablo and Kelly, try to fight the Evil Dead demons that keep coming back to take over the world. This is both scary and hilarious at the same time. I mean, come on, it's Bruce Campbell as Ash. Can't go wrong there. Evil is another good show that once again only has 4 seasons. The show follows a priest, psychologist, and scientist who investigate cases to determine if they're demonic or something else. Unfortunately, the show was canceled after 4 seasons, but it's still a great show to check out. Castle Rock also falls into this canceled before their time shows. It only has 2 seasons, but man, they were great. It's a show that takes Stephen King characters and makes interesting storylines with them, all while being located in Castle Rock, Maine. Very good series and definitely worth a watch. We also have Chucky, which is about Chucky and his newfound friend, and how the friend basically fights back, along with fleshing out more of Chucky's story. American Horror Story and Stories. From Interview with the Vampire, The Mayfair Witches, The Strain, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Channel Zero, Sleepy Hollow, Lucifer, and one of my favorites that was also canceled too soon, The Exorcist. This show was so good, I really wish they continued, but we only got 2 seasons out of it. This show definitely deserves more seasons. The first season follows a family whose daughter gets possessed by a demonic spirit, and the story unfolds to include their family's priest and another rogue exorcist priest. The second season continues to follow the 2 priests to another family's house, where there's a demonic spirit that has been wreaking havoc. I would tell you where to stream these, but depending on the country, you may not have it. You could do a quick search online and it should show you where you can stream them, although some may not be streaming, so just an FYI. Okay, let's get on to movies. I'm going to start with the obvious, Halloween. Of course, Halloween is a must-see during the season. Michael Myers is the boogeyman. And then you have the rest of the slashers like Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Pinhead, Ghostface, Chucky, Candyman, and so on and so forth. I'm going to name some not so well-known ones, like Trick, which is about a killer going around and killing people dressed in a jack-o'-lantern mask. Hard Eyes, which can be watched on Valentine's Day, along with My Bloody Valentine, both the original and remake. I'd like to jump to another type of movie set, which is anthologies. A favorite of mine, Creepshow 1 and 2, 1031, Tales of Halloween, and another favorite, Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat is an anthology movie that ties the stories together in a certain way and has a Halloween spirit named Sam. Body Bags, Tales from the Dark Side, The Mortuary Collection, and Holidays, which has a different holiday for each segment, which is a pretty cool concept. Most recently, Satanic Hispanics, All Hallows Eve, and Scare Package. Now this last set will also lead us into the next category, the VHS series. This series is such a great set of movies to watch, especially the newest one, VHS Halloween. These are all found footage movies, which leads me to the next category of found footage. We can't talk about found footage without naming the Blair Witch Project. They were pioneers of this genre. The way the movie was marketed as well was genius. To name some more, Hell House LLC, The House is October Built, Deadstream, The Monster Project, The Taking of Deborah Logan, and a more recent one that I loved, Late Night with the Devil. This movie was so well done and so good, and it's filmed in a way where you could have many theories about it. Now on to creature features, like the common ones of Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. To add, Alien, The Thing, Jaws, Godzilla, King Kong, and Predator. Modern ones like Crawl have elevated that intensity Jaws has. Crawl is about this girl who's a great swimmer and has to survive while trying to save her father from an alligator that is hunting them during a hurricane and flood in Florida. It's a pretty good movie. Prey is a great movie, even though it could be labeled a sci-fi horror. I still think it's a creature feature since it's not a human or an animal we have in our animal kingdom. It was just beautiful looking and so well done. Arcadian with Nicolas Cage was pretty good. And I also liked Monster Island. It was an interesting storyline with two enemies against a common enemy and trying to stay alive while being hunted by some sea creatures. It's pretty good, and I say check it out. Now on to movies in general that I did not mention in the previous section. Like Nosferatu, which was a beautifully filmed movie. It was perfect from the visuals to the acting. Everything was on point. Some others, such as Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Clown in a Cornfield, Oddity, Ugly Stepsister, Baghead, and one that I really liked, Night of the Reaper. Night of the Reaper is about a babysitter being stalked a year after her sister was killed by the same stalker. Good movie and definitely worth a watch. To name a few more, Night Watch 1, which is not new, but old, and Night Watch 2, which is new. Exhuma, Stop Motion, and Haunt. We shall end with Ghosts to lead into the Christmas season, which has one of the most famous ghost stories, A Christmas Carol. I will save that for my Christmas episode. Some good ghost stories are House on Haunted Hill, both the original and remake, Ghost Ship, the Amityville Horror, the Insidious series, as well as the Conjuring series. I have to name Poltergeist because it's one of my favorites, and it's just a great movie. Talk to Me, Bring Her Back, Terrified, The Sixth Sense, and another favorite of mine, 13 Ghosts. This movie was well done. The makeup of the ghosts was awesome. The storyline and how it played out was good. Good movie, but not a direct remake of the original. I am going to throw in The Fog, Skeleton Key, the Paranormal Activity series, A Haunting in Connecticut, and The Shining along with Dr. Sleep. I think Dr. Sleep was a perfect sequel to The Shining. It closed one door but opened a completely new one that may or may not lead to sequel. We can't end this without mentioning Ghostbusters, both originals and new ones, which are pretty good and a great way for them to continue the Ghostbuster storyline. I know I ran through this really quickly, but I wanted to get viewing suggestions out there. The next episode will be Thanksgiving themed. While not a lot of horror for the holiday, there are some that should be talked about. After that will be the Christmas episode, and I'll talk about Christmas-themed horror movies and TV show episodes. Before I go, I want to spotlight Squaredy Cats. This is a small business that creates cute horror-themed plushies that are cats and square. I put some images up of their products, and they currently have a Kickstarter going for a Halloween-themed set that is in the body of my description. If you are interested in their products, please back their new project, and you can also check them out on Instagram and Facebook. They also do wholesale, so if those who have businesses that may want to carry these items, feel free to reach out to Kurt. He is the creator and owner of Squaredy Cats. I would also like to thank Daunting Darkness for the use of their music. They have awesome atmospheric music. Their link to their YouTube page is in the description as well. See all you ghouls next time on Luna's Den of Horror.